Welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a best-of-5 series of Terran versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on the map Tropical Sacrifice. Now spawning here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the red Terran SCVs from South Korea, we have GuMiho. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Zerg drones, likewise also from Korea, we're looking at Ragnarok's main hatchery. I haven't casted a whole lot of Ragnarok's games over the last couple of months, and honestly, it's a bit of a shame. So I just went on a Ligelek, and this man, he's been steadily climbing through the ranks. I didn't even realize it, but he is performing incredibly well right now. So as of me making this video, he's considered to be the rank 15 in the world overall. He doesn't play a particularly spicy style of Zerg, so a lot of that attention when it comes to Korean Zergs, I suppose, goes to guys like, for example, Dark and Rogue. But they seem to be struggling a little bit more right now, and Ragnarok is moving through the ranks. Obviously, Solar also gets casted quite a bit. And I guess, yeah, after that, Ragnarok is probably the best Korean Zerg player. Anyways, I have casted quite a few of GuMiho's games. Probably won't come as a surprise to anyone that GuMiho is probably my favorite Terran player to watch right now. He's not the best Terran in the world. Probably not even top 3. Maybe not even top 5, actually. But he's a lot of fun. So, when it comes to the best Terrans on the planet right now, it's probably... I hope I won't forget anyone. Probably Maru, Clem, Cure, Bjorn, Bunny, and then GuMiho, I would say. I probably forgot someone. Anyways, both of these guys really good. GuMiho right now to rank 13 in the world overall. So certainly not someone you want to sleep on. And what I like about GuMiho's playstyle is that while he's perfectly capable of playing normal games, he's also very happy to play very spicy styles of Terran. A lot of battlecruiser openers, a lot of Terran mech, and yeah, usually, especially in a best-of-5 series, he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Now, one thing that Terran players have been doing a lot lately is skipping their early game SCV scouts. I've talked about this at length in previous casts. I don't entirely agree, but they're playing very greedy. So now 6 Zerglings are going to show up on the side of the Terran player because it was a 16 supply spawning pool. Not a very early pool here at all, by the way. Straight into a reactor as well, so it's just going to be a single Marine. Jimmy, get him, dude. Jimmy is going to be accompanied by a bunch of SCVs. I think Ragnarok probably needs to kill like 1 or 2 SCVs to justify his opener. And he's already there. Jimmy, no! Ooh, Jimmy, dude. Escaping with... No. Never mind. Didn't escape. No, he did not escape at all. Yeah, I don't know. I think sending out an SCV scout in the earlier stages of the game is far cheaper than all of this. But for some reason, all of the top tier Terrans are like, no, I can't send a scouting worker. I can't even afford a Reaper. Anyhow. Yeah, a Reaper would have been good too, right? 1 Reaper, since it can outpace the Zerglings without speed. It's a pretty good opener to have, but Terran players... they've been cutting corners left, right, and center. Alright, so Ragnarok setting the pace so far for this match. In the meantime, of course, he did go for an expansion on the low ground, and I'm expecting a 3rd hatch indeed right over here as well. At the beginning, when this map was first around, we saw a lot of 3rd bases for the Zerg over here, but it turns out this is a little bit trickier to defend, although there's some really good siege tank spots right over here up north as well, so it's a little... yeah, it's a little bit of a difficult 3rd base to acquire compared to some of the other maps, but still very doable, especially if you get some creep over in that direction. Anyways, Gumi, what are we going to do? Hey, we have a starport. We put it on a tech lab? No. Where's the... there's no fusion core? Oh, no. Gumi, what happened, man? Okay, he's going to go for a Cloak Banshee opener. Very common, of course. I mean, maybe not so much for GuMiho, but very common for every other Terran player. He goes for the Cloaking Field Research too, so you can actually get this upgrade done right in time as you produce 2 of those Banshees. So usually what you do is you save up 2 Banshees and then you send them out towards the other side of the map. Bailing Nest coming up here for Ragnarok as well. Obviously he knows who he's playing against, so he is probably going to play a pretty, defensive style. I mean, opening up with Zerglings in a way may seem rather aggressive, but I think it's actually a very defensive approach, because usually when you go for those Zerglings first, if you were to be cheesed, if there were to be a bunch of barracks on your side of the map, you can obviously shut it down relatively easily as well. Roach Warren actually comes up, so he cancels the Bailing Nest and goes into a Roach Warren together with a lair. GuMiho! Hey, there it is. After going Banshees, so he's making 2 Banshees, he's still going for a fusion core anyways. Plus a 3rd command center on the low ground. Okay, Gumi. Why on the low ground? Why not over here so you could fly it towards the low ground? Because you're not going to have any units out. Battle cruisers. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to make one here in a moment. It's not going to be for Liberator range, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They're 400 minerals, 300 gas each. So GuMiho is already saving up. He's going to smash his piggy bank all in one go as soon as he, well, finishes up the fusion core. And then he's going to be broke, and he really won't have a lot of units available. Now, I guess there are, yeah, quite a few Hellions, but now with the Roach worn out, Ragnarok may actually feel rather spicy and go for a move towards the other side of the map. Either that, or he's going to defend with the Roaches at home while counterattacking with the Zerglings. There are a bunch of Marines. These may have been part of Jimmy's crew. Yeah. Okay, then. Well, that's a bit of a problem. Let's see. On the other side of the map. Oh. The Queens. Oh, completely. Okay, I thought it was a misplay, but actually completely bypassing this. Look at this. He's blocking himself in. The very least he gets a kill on one of the spy crawlers. That was just completing the wall off, though, making it impossible for those Hellions to get into the mineral line. In the meantime, the Zerglings sacrificing themselves to the wall. May not be entirely ideal, but there's already a Drop-a-Lord coming up, too. I don't know where the Drop-a-Lord is. There's still Banshees in the main base. Okay, Drop-a-Lord is over here. We're gonna push with Roaches? Okay, then. Keep in mind, there's still Banshees out, plus that Battlecruiser. Takes a while to produce, but it's just about to pop out. Now imagine this game with a Terran and a third command center already done. I don't know, man. Terrans are so greedy these days with their CC positions and skipping all the scouting and all that. Anyways, Roaches get spotted on the other side of the map. Ragnarok. You probably think this is going to be a buyout transition, but now there's more Hellions coming up. Queens have shown up on the other side of the map too. This would be great in most situations, but not against the Battlecruiser start. Ah, there it is. So you cannot actually transfuse anymore with the Queens off creep. This is a thing that Blizzard patched some time ago. So now there's creep over here, right? Since there's a lair, he can actually use that to his advantage. But this is an excellent defense here for GuMiho in the end. Yeah, I've got a feeling that Brenda, even though she's sitting right next to Karen inside of her private plane, it's not going to happen. Okay. What a disaster. So let's see. 69 Zerglings going down. Nice. In the end, this is actually still a really good beginning for GuMiho. I can't believe I'm saying that. He ended up losing quite a bit to the first 6 Zerglings that showed up on his side of the map. And then obviously his Hellion Banshee push didn't really do all too much. His command center got countered at the 3rd base. And somehow, some way, he still found himself at an advantage. Obviously, that's because of the way that Ragnarok is playing here. Okay, Hellions in the meantime still produced at rather big numbers. Trying to trade out efficiently, I guess, against some of those units, but Roaches are going to be fantastic. Queens here getting transfused back up to full HP. In the meantime, actually, I wasn't paying attention, but there's another BC right over here. No, wait, yeah, that is another BC right over there inside of the main base of the Zerg, and now drones are getting roasted left, right, and center. One of the Battlecruisers does go down, but the other BC in the main base still putting in the work. And there it is. It's too much. GuMiho still wins game number 1. Okay, game number 2, Data C. It's kind of interesting, actually. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw someone going for 2 Banshees and then a Battlecruiser. I don't remember when that happened. Probably was GuMiho as well. Anyways. Most people, when they open up with a Battlecruiser opener, especially the top tier Terrans, like for example Maru, whenever he goes for a Battlecruiser opener, he will usually go for the fastest possible Battlecruiser, right? So he'll play that style where he just rushes out the Battlecruiser, he shows up on the other side of the map, and he'll harass together with Hellions. The Battlecruiser that GuMiho went for in the previous game, that first one showed up literally minutes later than that, well, rushed out Battlecruiser would. So I think in Ragnarok's mind, he's like, okay, I've done a bunch of damage to your units on my side of the map. You've shown me 2 Banshees. Maybe you're going to go for a 3rd Banshee, but there's really no way you're going to be able to hold my Queen push, right? So that's why he brought an Overseer as well as a Drop-a-Lord. Because those Queens were going to be able to take care of all of the flying units, and then GuMiho whips out a freaking Battlecruiser. It's kind of funny, because in a way he plays a lot of anti-timings that theoretically don't make a lot of sense, but somehow he seems to be able to consistently make it work. Anyhow, Game number 2. We're on Data C. This is usually the big macro map for Terrans, but this is GuMiho. Really? Okay. GuMiho is skipping the first Marine right now. Skipping the SCV Scout once again. Goes for the CC on the low ground. Imagine a bunch of Zerglings showing up on this side of the map right now. Yeah, it'd be bad. As a matter of fact, I think it would nearly be GG. I mean, obviously the Terran wouldn't have to leave the game, but Zerg would be, yeah, they would be at a massive advantage. They can force the council on that command center. Anyhow, not gonna happen. Even though Ragnarok went for a spawning pool first in game number 1, in this one he decided to go for a hedge into a gas geyser, into a spawning pool. So GuMiho playing a bunch of mind games. So far seems to be working. Obviously though, not a big deal whatsoever. It's just that he's going to be able to hit more aggressive timings a little bit later as well. Say he wants to go for, I don't know, like a marine drop or something along those lines at a later stage of this match. He is going to be able to, yeah, hit with just simply more units because he cut a bunch of corners in the earlier stages of the match. Alright. Second gas coming up. I'm expecting a starport here relatively soon as well. Ragnarok trying to sneak away the Overlord. Probably wants to fly it over here and then send it straight through the main base of the Terran player later on. Usual time for the Overlord Scout is right around the 4-minute mark, 4.5 minutes. Marines hunting the map right now as well for additional Overlords. Can they see that one? They cannot. This thing is actually like this shape over here. It looks like a complete high ground, but it's actually a bit of a funky thing. Like, it looks like a complete high ground, but yeah, see? It's actually very skinny. Like, only the absolute inner section of this shape is an actual high ground, which is kind of funny. Like, I've noticed this over the years with pretty much every StarCraft map. For some reason, these pillars, they look much bigger than they actually are. Like, the visual for the pillar is significantly bigger than what the actual pillar is. Anyhow, Zergs have to be rather careful with their Overlord positioning, but a couple Hellions pretending that they want to go for a run-by, forcing out a bunch of Zerglings. Now they go back home. Another small win for GuMiho, because every time he forces out units, it means that he's not going up against additional drones. So for only a handful of Hellions, not bad at all. Anyhow, this is another funky little push. What do we have here? So there's no armory. It's just going to be 6 Hellions here, together with 6 Marines and a medevac, but no Stimpec or anything along those lines. I don't see how this is going to do much, but maybe the Marines can be a distraction so the Hellions can actually get some work done. I think that might exactly be the plan. Yep. Lynx, though, are going to drop from the main base down towards the low ground once again. 4 Zerglings go, or sorry, 4 drones end up going down. These Hellions, though, are super dead. And even though this little jump-up pad for the Reaper is a nice place to drop your Marines, I suppose, I don't really like this so much for Gumi. Nah. The problem is, right? If you do something like this against someone like Serral, and I know I bring Serral up a lot, but Serral is incredibly solid when it comes to his scouting and just knowing what to do in these weird situations. I'm pretty sure in a match between Serral and GuMiho, Serral would absolutely destroy Gumi if he tries to pull these sorts of tricks. Right? Like, he's cutting a lot of corners, and he's going for a lot of weird openers, a lot of anti-timings, that in theory you'd imagine that playing the most straightforward, most conventional style is the way to go. Assuming you don't take damage in the early game, you should be very, very far ahead in the mid game. I'm pretty sure if this was Serral going up against Gumi, I haven't actually casted a whole lot of those games. Not that I remember anyways. I don't think they've faced off against each other all too often. Actually, let me look that up for just a sec. Okay, I found it. Through the magic of video editing, you probably didn't notice. Unless I forgot to edit that out. Lowko in the future, please remember to keep editing, okay? I hope I didn't forget to edit it out. Anyways, apparently the last time they played was in the TSL 9 main event, and Serral won 2-0. Oh, actually, I casted one of those games not too long ago. I did that first-person view. I was gonna say, I did cast that game, didn't I? Okay, yeah, so I did that first-person view where we had Serral going up against GuMiho, and we saw him scouting aggressively. It feels to me when Serral's on point, it's gonna be very hard to beat him, especially with tricks. Anyhow, over the years, though, even though they've both been playing this game for a long time, they've only had 10 matches against one another. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. It's not a lot. Since GuMiho is moving up through the ranks, though, maybe it'll be something that we'll see more moving forward as well. Anyway. Not the most successful start here for the Terran. He's gonna go into 2-2 pretty quickly. That's nice and all. He does have a third command center down. That's nice and all. But Zerg has now got a fourth hatchery up. He's got plenty of units to defend against this shenanigans as well. And he's now going for a large counterattack as well. This is not a very good Zergling run by though, yeah. He kills a bunch of units, but in the end he does get pushed back. Bailing speed is finishing up in about 10 seconds. So next time that the Terran steps on the creep, he's gonna have to deal with roly-poly Banelings, and that makes this a whole lot harder. Okay. Switching into Marauders right now as well, together with concussive shells, because of course he is. No siege tanks, no widow mines, none of that. So it's just Marine Marauder medevac. I've got a feeling that Hydraling Bane is going to be an excellent answer against a Terran army that does not have splash damage. Now, good targeting right there by Gumi. Getting rid of some of those Banelings before they could connect. If you right-click the units or attack move on those Banelings correctly, yeah, you can pick them off. Nicely done. It's just that splash damage is the norm. If GuMiho is sniffing out what he's going up against right now, he could just go for one gigantic attack. And those Marines cannot run forever. Yeah, so he's making walls over here to try and make it hard for the Zerg player to get a good engagement in, right? So he's playing SimCity at this point. Ragnarok, though, has been making a lot of Lings and a lot of Hydras here for quite some time, and now he's adding on additional Banes. He could go for an attack when 2-2 finishes. There's still no Widowmine production. Or Siege Tank production, it doesn't really matter. Are we gonna go for some eventually here, Gumi? Obviously, if he can cut that corner as well, right? But that's like a... that's a gigantic corner to cut. Maybe he's making the assumption that since Ragnarok has played so many late games on this map lately, that he's just gonna be playing this map with that mindset in general. But now he must realize, right? Ragnarok, that is, that there is no splash damage. If there's no splash damage, should you just not go attack? Fourth command center starts up at the fourth command center position as well. Gumi. Okay, now Widow Mines are finally out, but that is very late. He's got a huge Marine Marauder army, though. Yikes, look at the supply count as well. Terran actually ahead here. Yeah. Those trades with that micro of Gumi have been incredibly cost efficient. Alright, that wall's still not finished. That wall can also accidentally work against those SCVs, though. Okay, a lot of damage is going to be done here. Maybe not as much as could be done, but at the same point, at the same time, we have a massive fight on the other side of the map. GuMiho is apparently going for like an all-out assault with 2-2 finishing up. Reinforcing Terran units will probably clean up the leftover Banelings and Zerglings. Does he have enough, GuMiho, to just push through this Zerg army straight away? There are some burrowed Banelings in this fight as well. He's got a massive split on a lot of those Terran units, but still a lot of creep here available too. Banelings do not want to roll into the Marauders. So as long as the Marauders are out on the battlefield, this may actually work out. Are you kidding me? This is working? Oh, well, there's suddenly a Widowmine. That one actually dealt more damage to the Marines and Marauders than anything else. Zerg has finished up 2-2 as well. Keep in mind, though, this is Ragnarok at mid-game tech, and GuMiho is transitioning towards 3-3. These fights are only going to get better for GuMiho once those upgrades finish, so he could definitely go home, but he apparently is smelling blood in the water right here, right now. Yeah, a very uncommon style of Terran once again. It looks normal, right? If you're a casual observer of a game of StarCraft 2, this kind of game looks relatively normal, but it's really not. Just a tremendous amount of Marines, Marauders, and Medevacs. There it is. Waterfall. Match point right here for GuMiho. Actually kind of interesting. I remember at, I believe, Home Story Cup, when these maps were first introduced, Terran players were very happy with this map. They wanted to play it oftentimes as like the very first map of a series. And Zergs would usually be vetoing Waterfall if they had the chance. So they wanted to like not play on the map. Statistics-wise though, let me actually get you the exact numbers. It has turned out to be a very good map for Zergs in the Terran versus Zerg matchup. So yeah, Zerg has roughly 59% win rate at the professional level in tournament games over Terran. So even though Terrans wanted to be playing this map all of the time, turns out to not be the case. Yeah, turns out to not be true. Anyways, because of that, I can imagine that Ragnarok probably pretty happy with this map choice here. He's looking around. He knows very well that now he needs to win 3 maps in a row against GuMiho to win. And GuMiho obviously needs to lose 3 maps, so there's a very good chance that GuMiho is going to try his hand at a little bit of cheese. So the Overlord scouting around, making sure he finds any of those proxies if they were to be placed on his side of the map. GuMiho almost baiting his opponent out of a pool first once again, but I believe, yes, this is going to be a Reaper start. Pool first against Reapers, not ideal, especially if now 6 Zerglings were on the other side of the map. You could pick those off pretty easily. So 3 different starts right here from the Terran. Ragnarok, though, unfazed, going for the hatchery into the gas geyser, and then eventually a spawning pool as well. Okay. Going straight into the main base with this Overlord. It now sees the timing of the Reaper. Not sure where this guy would have flown if it was a Marine first. I guess over here, but there's no obvious high ground anywhere here. 1 Marine. 2nd Marine. Okay. No, it's going to be a reactor after all, I think. So this is the normal build, guys. In case you're wondering what the normal build for Terran versus Zerg is, this is the quintessential standard opener for Terrans. You can skip the SCV Scout. It's quite common for Terrans to go, well, at least in the past it was quite common for Terrans to go for a SCV into a Reaper Scout. Just so you know if you need to keep that Reaper at home to defend against the Zergling push, but anyhow. This is very normal. So you go for a Reaper. Then if you skip the SCV Scout, you go for 1 Marine. So if there were Zerglings on the other side of the, well, on your side of the map, I guess. That's a little bit sloppy. You could defend against that and buy time until the Reaper comes back home, and then you make a reactor. Now you start pumping out Hellions 2 at a time. Oftentimes you would go for the starport first, and then after that the command center. But Terran players have found out that usually you can actually pull it off to go for a command center first, and then eventually a starport. Or an additional barracks if you really want to. But that's a more new school approach. So far, we haven't gone for anything. GuMiho has the money. You'd imagine he goes for a starport. Okay. So, not sure what his plan is. Yeah, he's just going to go for Stimpack and a bunch of Hellions. Fair enough. This does mean he won't be able to harass with a Liberator, or a Banshee, or a Battlecruiser, or anything along those lines in this game. Well, I mean, it can if he really wants to, but it's certainly going to be a little bit tricky. Yeah, still no starport. It's coming up on 200 gas. I don't know what the point is. So Ragnarok is going to scout as well. He's going to find a whole lot of nothing. So maybe that's the mind game. Really, Ragnarok? That's Ragnarok's announcer. Okay, apparently he's playing with the Diva announcer. Fair enough. Ooh, did he see that? Okay, so the transition is coming up. So he sees the factory over there. And he does see that there's indeed additional barracks coming up. He saw 1 of them. But this is a mass bio opener here from GuMiho. So there's the double NG Bay as well. So in the previous game, we saw a load of flying units. In this game, we're not going to see any for at least a while. 4 additional barracks coming up. So we're going straight to 5 racks after opening up 3 CC. I believe that this is going to be one hell of a 1-1 timing attack from GuMiho. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but that's the only thing that really makes sense. You go combat shields right now, I think, in the tech lab. And then you're going to finish combat shields together with 1-1 upgrades, and you'll obviously have a ridiculous amount of bio at that point. He will get himself a bunch of marines, or sorry, a bunch of medevacs out as well eventually. I believe that this reactor here on the factory is going to switch over with the starport, and then you can start pumping them out 2 at a time. But yeah, this is going to be tricky for the Zerg player to scout. I wonder if this is something that GuMiho did specifically after seeing the very first Overlord of his opponent with that one Reaper, right? So the Reaper jumped down over here. He saw the Overlord. He knew that it was over there. So at that point, obviously, it was going to fly in a couple minutes later. He waited, it seemed, until that Overlord died, and then he finally committed with his tech transition, because he could have done it a little bit sooner. So he shows a lot of Hellions here. So all of this looks like a normal game to Zerg. So in a normal game, we don't see Terrans pushing that aggressively with 1-1. Usually they wait until 2-2. Okay. Yeah, so if you look at this right now from Ragnarok's perspective, he hasn't really seen anything crazy. Now this is sloppy though. This is really bad. Yeah, these Hellions are far behind. Ah, GuMiho. Yeah, I like what you're doing, but like, if you're gonna donate, well, donate, maybe not entirely free, but 14 Marines at this point, right before 1-1 and combat shields finish up, you may have just accidentally anti-timed yourself, right? Like, you could use the Hellions for creep denial. Using Marines is a little bit greedy. Anyways, I think he still has to go for it, right? He still has to go for at least something. Man, he's got barely anything at this point now. Yeah, he's now got 15 Marines, just because we saw a lot of them die earlier. That moment when you try so hard to play mind games on your opponent that you accidentally play mind games on yourself. That moment when you're trying to out-trick the Zerg and you out-trick yourself instead. Feels bad, man. Yeah. So look at this, right? Normally Zergs can defend these 1-1 timing attacks with Baneling speed. But Baneling speed is not done yet, and 1-1 is already finished. Okay. Well then. Think we can go for another hatchery if you want to here, Rack. Okay, instead he's decided to go for the base here on the left side of the map at the 9 o'clock position. He's going into 2-2 upgrades right now. Baneling speed is finished. So, yeah, with Baneling speed, defending against anything becomes so much easier. Zergling burrowed here at the potential 4th base for the Terran player. Judging by that CC positioning, though, he probably wants to take the base over here instead. Ragnarok right now, though, with a very nice economical advantage. Supply-wise, it's not really reflected just yet, but he's got 79 drones, mining a lot of resources. 2-2 is going to finish up in probably about 45 seconds as well. Ooh, that Widow Mine! Okay, that Widow Mine almost blew up the entire Baneling clump. Anyways, I do believe that there's a potential for Zerg to go for an attack here once those upgrades finish up. I haven't seen a hive or anything like that yet, so I imagine that's what he's wanting to do. Put all of his eggs in one very large 2-2 basket. Planetary coming up, though, in this position. Additional factories coming up as well for Gumi, so he needs to finish up that sensor tower, actually. He's going for additional factories right now, so he is making that transition. +1 coming up as well for the mechanical ground units. Now we're going infestation pit, really? Okay. I think Rag probably plans on collapsing on top of all of this. He's got a very large army. As long as he doesn't get destroyed here by Widow Mines, I think he's going to be okay. Planetary also is going to be a beautiful anchor to fall back to, though, but good splits right there against all of those units. Widow Mines not really getting a lot of work done. These get destroyed as well. Planetary goes down, and here comes the Swarm. Yeah, this is kind of what happens when you go for an early game that, you know, doesn't do anything to the Zerg player, right? Like, GuMiho made all of those units and then did very little with it. So Ragnarok held down the drone button and he easily obtains the victory because of that. Very well played here by Ragnarok. Next up, inside and out. Not bad whatsoever for Ragnarok. Obviously still a game behind, but yeah, things are looking a little bit better for him right now. Ooh. The only times we ever see SCVs moving across the map in this matchup at this point in the game right now is for proxy barracks. I'm pretty sure that this is gonna be a proxy barracks. Yep. Okay, so is this gonna be scouted? Curious position. So this is where Terran players are trying once again to play at like 300 IQ. Because they know that the first Overlord is likely going to go straight across the map. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a more elaborate path. But usually it will go straight across the map to scout out roughly what's happening on the side of the Terran. And then the second Overlord is the real one to worry about. Sometimes that one goes around and scouts the other locations. There is definitely a chance that the Overlord is going to go like that, right? And I think it would probably catch these two barracks on the tail end of its scouting path. But right now, yeah, Rag is not going to spot it. So he is moving around with his Overlord. And he will probably check this high ground, but there's a good chance he's not going to spot this until the Marines are already out. Anyhow, it was once again a pool first. So does it really matter, huh? Pool first against a double barracks opener is really good for the Zerg. One of the reasons why Zergs like going for pool first, even though it's not the best against the Reaper start, is because it's really, really strong in these types of, scenarios. So right now he knows what he's going up against, but the Zerglings are already going to meet this head on. Roach Warren on the back of this right away from Rag. Okay. Ragnarok looking at this, he's like, okay, you're not going to scout my main base anytime soon. You're going to struggle against my Zerglings. You know what you're really going to struggle against? Roaches inside of your own main base. Factory comes up at home. GuMiho has a single gas guys from mining gas as well. He needs to be careful. If he's only got a bunch of Hellions out and a few Marines, those roaches are going to destroy him. So I don't know how many he's going to make. Probably like 5 or so. I would imagine like 5 roaches and then back to droning. The only downside here for Ragnarok is that Zergling speed is going to be quite late. Usually what you do with 5 or 6 roaches is you make 1 Ravager and then you move across the map. And then after the Ravager, you go for link speed. Oh, okay. This is good. GuMiho grabbing a couple of those Zerglings for free. Yeah. So he's going back to droning right now. I think he's going to morph in 1 Ravager and then go for link speed. So link speed is going to be quite delayed. So if GuMiho can hold on comfortably, he should be okay when it comes to counterattacking. Problem is, he has no idea, right? He hasn't seen those units yet. So no Ravager, actually? It's just going to be 5 roaches? Okay. That's still a pretty healthy chunk of Marines, to be honest. Okay, yeah, there's 1 Ravager. I don't think GuMiho has seen them yet. Okay, he's going to spot them right now. Runs right away. It's 2 Ravagers. 2 Ravagers you usually only do if you think you're going to win the game. Either that, or I guess you feel really confident. So this is one of those builds where you want to kill probably like 5 or so. Oh my god, really? So morphing into low HP Roach into a Ravager does pop it out at full HP. Supply block actually right now as well for Gumi, right? So that's a good thing to note. It's a 1-base Terran though. Yeah, second CC just finished up, so that's a massive supply depot too. But this is, as long as GuMiho defends, pretty doable. He hasn't lost a lot of SCVs here. And I don't see how he's not going to end here with a hold. Yeah, so we're very used to the timing of Zergling speed. We're very used to the timing of Zergling speed because normally it finishes up, well, as the first Zerg upgrade. But when you get it later on into the game, oh my god, he goes straight into a lair as well? What in the world? Okay. When you get it later on into the game, it's a surprisingly slow upgrade. It takes a while. Okay, I would love to see these Terran units go across the map as soon as they are repaired. That lair is gonna finish up nice and early. He's already mining 4 gases too, so I'm assuming this is now gonna be a mutalisk follow-up. This Hellion drop, it's gonna have to deal some damage, and I'm not entirely sure if it will, because the Ravager's still out. Yep, the Ravagers are gonna be really good. So this is actually an important pushback as well for Ragnarok, because he does not want to get the timing of that lair scouted. I'm fairly sure he either wants to go for like a Nidus Worm or a Spire. What are we gonna do? That's a Spore Crawler. There's the Spire. Okay. Trying to deflect this thing out of the main base. GuMiho still does not scout the lair. So this lair is incredibly fast after a Roach Ravager opener. This is a very greedy move from Ragnarok. GuMiho did scout the timing of the 3rd hatchery. But this is one of those early games you don't play against all day, every day. So it might be a little bit tricky for him to decide if that is just a delayed 3rd base or if it's a late 3rd base. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit difficult for him to know exactly what he's going up against. This could be a Roach follow-up push or something along those lines. He still has no idea about the timing of that lair, and I've got a feeling that this Spire is going to go up completely unscouted. There will be Marines with Stimpack. And Marines are pretty good. No Baneling Nest done yet, so that one's finishing up here in just a moment. Just Zerglings and, yeah, a bunch of Queens here for the time being. Stimpack at this point is done, though. This could definitely pack a punch. Ooh, careful. He needs to target fire down as much as he can. This is dealing a lot of damage, though, here to the Terran units. Or, sorry, to the Zerg units. Most importantly, that very fast Spire we were talking about. Yeah. Ragnarok had to smash his piggy bank and spend his larva and all of his Zerglings and a couple Banelings and stuff in order to defend against this push. So the Mutas are gonna come out, but not quite as early. They might still be able to catch this Terran off guard, though. How many Marines are we at? 13 Marines. But obviously Terran players like to use their Marines on the other side of the map. Wouldn't be surprised if these units are once again gonna go for a move out. And at that point, if those Flippy Flappies can go straight towards the main base of the Terran... It's still unscouted. GuMiho just had to fly in ever so slightly further and he would have seen what was going on. I think if these Mutas show up in the main base unscouted, there is a missile turret though. Ooh, good timing there by Gumi. Alright, yeah. He's probably figured... Yeah, he's probably put 1 and 1 together. Oh, actually. At some point he did get a spot of that Spire somehow. I don't know exactly when that happened. Must have flown in at some point and just barely noticed it. Anyways, though, still a little bit tricky. Yeah, those Mutas are still going to be really nice when it comes to defending. Siege Tank, though, on the other side. There you go. Oh, that little lava river. Guns down a bunch of the Banelings. Baneling speed finishing up in just a moment. Mutas want to pick off reinforcements, but they have to be careful about Stimpack. Just bruising that, that Siege Tank ever so slightly. Yeah, just hurting those Marines a bit. Nice micro here on the Mutas. Very nicely done. Okay, he's buying time. So at this point, Bane speed is done. No creeper on the low ground, though, is really going to make this defense super tricky. But there is a chance that Ragnarok can roll over all of this Terran army. He's picking off a lot of units. Yeah, Siege Tank's right now firing as well. Is he going to commit? I think he has to. There we go. The Banelings need to connect with those Marines somehow, some way. Okay, Siege Tank number 1 gets picked off. Siege Tank number 2 in a lot of trouble as well. That one also dies. You know what? Turns out the Banelings were mostly just a threat. Mutas right now taking out more and more of the reinforcements. Excellent control here by Ragnarok. Very nicely done. Okay, he needs a couple more Banelings though. Mutas once again, just buying time. Ragnarok buys a ridiculous amount of time. GuMiho has been wanting to fight for a while, but Rag is just not giving it to him. 3rd Command Center did finish up in the meantime. GuMiho is going to land that one on the low ground here in just a sec. He's going for a 2nd NG Bay as well at this point, so 2-2 upgrades are going to be starting here in just a moment. Actually, oh no, he only got 1 armor. Or sorry, he got no armor. He's got 1 attack upgrade. Skipping armor altogether. Interesting. He's going straight into +2, skipping the +1 armor upgrade for those Marines. He did, however, go for an armory, so... Zerg has been making a large army, though, for quite some time. Yeah, he's got a healthy chunk of units, and he's adding on a lot more. So even though right now would be the time to make, well, a 4th base and drone up the 3rd fully and all that, he's making some more, but he's finishing on he's finishing up 1-1 upgrades, and I believe that Ragnarok probably wants to go for a move here. Again, he's killed a lot of splash damage, right? So he knows that there's not going to be that many tanks in total. If he can kill this one, that would be huge. He gets it. There's another siege tank. Yeah. Don't mind if I do, says Ragnarok. If you're not on point with your marine positioning, if you keep it all in one big ball, I'm going to shut you down at the same time. Drop over here, gets shut down too. Ragnarok doesn't even need to go for the counterattack. It's already enough. Okay. That brings us to Moondance. The final map of this Best-of-5 series. GuMiho won the first 2 games. Ragnarok won the 2 that came after that. Momentum is on the side of Ragnarok right now. GuMiho playing some very tricky games, but there's no denying that Ragnarok is more than capable of doing the same thing. Like we saw in that previous match. That was a, yeah, very well played game right there from the Zerg player. Giving GuMiho a taste of his own medicine. Gas first here, actually, from the Terran. Pool first here from Ragnarok. Okay. I'm pretty sure these guys are not going... They're probably not spending too much time getting into their own heads about the early game, because it's really easy to get caught up and think about all of the previous games of this series. Especially as a Zerg right now. Do I want to go hedge first? Do I go pool first? Do I go hedge first? Do I go pool first? I'm pretty sure oftentimes you just kind of want to wing it, man. It's very easy to think, okay, now it would have been great to go pool first. Ah, I went for a hatchery first. Now I went for a pool first. And dang, I should have gone for a hatchery first. I think you basically just toss a coin and you hope for the best. So what's it going to be, Gumi? Are we going to go for a Reaper? We'll have to find out. 6 Zerglings coming up here for the Zerg. It is going to be a Reaper. CC on the low ground. Very nice. No SCV scout, though. Command center starts up on the low ground. What are we going to do with the Reaper? Okay, so he's very concerned. He's going to be using a defensive scouting pattern right here on the Reaper. So at the very least, it'll be home. Problem is, it's going to be great against the Zerglings, but Ragnarok apparently making roaches in the previous game. He's like, okay, you know what? That went pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and do it a little bit quicker in this particular game. Adds on a Roach Warren once more. So these Zerglings are gonna get sacrificed. Yeah, don't tell them. I don't know if they're aware of that, but they get sacrificed for the greater good. They are just here to buy as much time as possible, to keep that Reaper as busy as possible as well, so it does not scout those roaches. They're gonna start working on the reactor here, so no Marine is a follow-up. If GuMiho would decide to go for a Marine here, that would be fantastic for him. But these Zerglings, while they don't get a lot of work done, I mean, I guess they've delayed the CC. Imagine if there was a Marine, by the way. That would have been fantastic. Yeah, he's just buying time. Okay, 5 roaches coming up. GuMiho going straight into a tech lab right here on the factory. I wonder if he's a little bit suspicious. Yeah, I think he is. Because why would the Zergling go all the way over here? That makes no sense. I think... Maybe this is something that Ragnarok has pulled on GuMiho before. So it's going to be a bunch of roaches. Ravager coming up as well. The one unit you need against this is either a siege tank or a cyclone. Preferably a cyclone. Because cyclones are amazing if microed correctly. So Zerg is looking to kill about 5 or so SCVs with this push. If he kills 5 SCVs, he's going to be in a good spot. Second command center is done. Orbital command comes up as well. Good control right there by Ragnarok. Pulling back the targeted roach. Okay. Beautiful grenade there as well. That Reaper putting in the value. There's another lock-on. I don't think that this one will be as lucky. No, that one will be pushed to the outer limit, but it will die eventually. A lot of these roaches are running dangerously low. Good control right here by Ragnarok, but he is losing those units eventually. And did he kill a single SCV? Well, he's killed one, but I think that was the first SCV that was building the command center. Now the Overlord goes down as well. Okay. Lovely work here by GuMiho. Yeah, if your opponent goes for a pull first, and you see them getting awfully sneaky with those Zerglings, really trying to keep you from scouting, it might not be a bad idea to go for a blind tech lab straight into a Cyclone. Anyways, GuMiho is thinking about this game right now. He's like, you know what I need? Battle cruisers. Of course, that's what you need, dude. I agree. Battle cruisers all the way. I say that. It's gonna be a while. I guess Zerg, though, going for this roach push. Yeah, link speed is gonna be the first opportunity for them to really deal any follow-up damage. And if there's Cyclones out on the map, it's gonna be hard to really move across anyways. Queens, good scan, very good scan, gets both of them. Excellent snipes right there from Gumi. So what you gotta keep in mind is that the battlecruiser is coming on the back of this. Now, okay, Hellions and Reaper get surrounded. Apparently they get killed, but 9 drones is what they killed. Not bad at all. Link speed is gonna be able to clear these units out. But keep in mind, any queen right now that dies is fantastic here for the Terran player, because the battlecruiser is coming. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, Zerglings trying their very best, but they get absolutely roasted. Oh my god, I don't think you want to be lining them up. Yeah, so the only source of anti-air is gonna be a Spore Crawler and a Queen? Is that all we have? Yeah, we literally have 1 Queen and 1 Spore Crawler right now. They're still dancing back and forth, though. GuMiho, the much better dancer, is gonna start losing 2 Overlords here, too. I've got a feeling that as soon as this battlecruiser shows up, this is a game over. Actually, correction. GuMiho doesn't even need to show the battlecruiser. Ragnarok looks at the Overlords, he looks at the supply count, he looks at the creep spread, and he realizes that whatever it is that GuMiho has planned on the back of this, he's not gonna be able to hold. Fun series. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you made it all the way until the very end, please take the 1 second that it takes to hit the like button down below. It really does help. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.